Good afternoon and welcome to Essential Ingredients. I'm Justine Reichman, your host, and today I have with me Joe Dickson, co-founder of Merryfield. Welcome, Joe.
Hi, Justine. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. I'm excited to get to know you a little bit better and to introduce our community to Merryfield. I think they're really going to be excited once they learn a little bit more about what Merryfield is. And to that end, can we just jump in? Can you tell everybody what is Merryfield?
Yeah, so Merryfield is a loyalty and rewards app and platform to help people who want to choose better for you clean label products get rewarded for buying brands that are truly better and meet higher standards. So in one sense, Merryfield is a collective of about 60 better for you clean label brands like Applegate, Stonyfield, Health Aid Kombucha, some organic pioneers, some newer emerging brands. And anytime you buy any product from any of those Merryfield brands using anywhere you shop, you take a picture of your receipt and you get at least 5% back in rewards on our platform for buying those products from those brands. And the intent is to make it more rewarding to buy better products, to help people, better for you products can be a little bit more expensive. And by giving at least 5% cash back, we're helping, close that gap a little bit and make the products more affordable, more accessible. We have a strict set of standards, so you know that all of our brands meet strict guidelines on what ingredients can be used, animal welfare standards, seafood sustainability, kind of everything you'd expect out of a better for you brand. And you rack up points by buying from our brands, and you redeem them for gift cards directly within our app for Starbucks and Whole Foods and REI and Amazon and brands like that.
Looks like we've got a couple other guests joining us today.
Hey guys, welcome.
They heard that you liked animals, so they thought they'd join us. So there's so much that I want to dig into there. First of all, you choose better for you products. You make them more accessible. And you talked about how you choose these products and what makes them important to you. And I'd love for you just to talk a little bit about how you choose them and what makes them, in your mind, better for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it starts with standards. Before I started Merryfield, I spent 20 years at Whole Foods, and most of that time as part of the global standards team at Whole Foods that sets policies on what ingredients are banned and, what kinds of animal products can get into the store and why, and really like what kinds of products would a consumer expect from a company that promises better products. And I drew on that experience and other experience I've had working on the organic standards and the non-GMO project standards and programs like that to create a set of really rigorous guidelines around, no artificial flavors, colors, sweeteners, or preservatives, no high fructose corn syrup, full GMO transparency, no surprise sources of GMO corn or soy, beauty products that aren't tested on animals, that are free of phthalates and parabens and ingredients you wouldn't want to find in your body care products. The same with dietary supplements and household cleaning products. We started with just a firm set of ingredients we absolutely don't allow because they're unsafe, bad for the environment, or just unnecessary. Then, we look for brands that are pretty widely available. Right now, because we're an app that supports brick and mortar retail purchases, we're looking for brands that are available in a good handful of national retail outlets. And ones that have a clear sense of purpose, brands that really have some part of the food system or the beauty products market that they're trying to make a better place in a clear way, and that they're trying to improve people's lives by providing healthier, cleaner, and better products.
That's great. And I think it's so important because often we talk about better for you products, and I don't think that people really understand what the standards are that people are using to measure what the better for you product is.
It's tough. The better for you is not, it's used widely in our industry, but it's not really defined. Natural doesn't have a clear definition. Clean label doesn't have a clear definition. And so, you have consumers who want to buy better, but you have brands that sometimes don't have their best interest in mind and, are kind of doing whatever they want and using the halo of naturalness or clean label to get away with some stuff. And that's another thing that's really, drives me in looking at brands. There's so many brands right now on the shelves at Walmart and Kroger and Safeway that want to get on the clean label bandwagon, and they do what I call clean washing. They remove one artificial ingredient, tout it on the label in a really big starburst, but they haven't removed any of the other bad ingredients. They're just sort of making one token small step and then leaning on that to get way more credit than they deserve. Or you go down the deli meat aisle, for example, and you see all sorts of natural products for sale. The natural term in that aisle, as allowed by the USDA, means almost nothing about the life of the
Yeah.
animal or
It's
use of
salad.
antibiotics or what
Salad.
it was fed. And I think a lot of people see natural on bacon or turkey breast and think, oh, this is better than the mainstream, and I'm doing good for animals in the world by buying this product, and they're not. And so when brands, are essentially taking advantage of consumers with, label claims that are misleading, that riles me up, and it's one of the things that drives me to, create strong standards to really protect people from that.
I'm curious, when you were talking about natural and you're talking about the FDA regulations, what are they actually allowed to use? When they use the word natural, what does that fall under? So how big is it? How wide is this claim that they're?
So it's a really interesting question without a clear answer. So for food in general, there's no definition. The FDA regulates food labeling. They don't really have much guidance or thinking or regulation on how the term gets used. There have been some lawsuits challenging the use of the word natural, and even federal courts have asked the FDA to create a clear definition to make it easier for judges and juries to determine what natural is, and they haven't to date.
So wait a second. So let me clarify. So there is no FDA regulation around the word natural.
There is no FDA regulation around the word natural in food, but there is a USDA definition of natural that only applies to animal products. So USDA has sort of narrow jurisdiction over animal products and food products that have substantial animal ingredients. And it gets really hair splitting when you look at where the border is. But when you look at the labeling of, turkey breast, chicken breast, stuff in the meat department, the USDA largely regulates the labeling of those products. And so they allow the use of the word natural pretty much on anything that is minimally processed after slaughter. So, there usually aren't added synthetic preservatives or plumping agents or a lot of, heavily processed products or synthetic additives. But it doesn't mean anything about the life of the animal before it was processed. So it could have been given antibiotics or growth hormones or fed very conventional GMO feed, or lived in any sort of living conditions. And I think consumers see the word natural and they think it means something more than just what happened at the slaughterhouse and beyond.
Sounds misleading to me.
It is. It's very misleading.
It sounds a little misleading. So is there anything that you do within your practices when you're putting together your regulations or your standards, so to speak, around the word natural?
Yeah, I mean, we shy away from using the word ourselves, and most of the brands we work with, have also shied away from it for similar reasons. One, it's poorly defined. Two, it can introduce some legal risk if you're making the claim. So it's not, it's a term that may show up on some products, but outside of, natural flavors, which have a clear definition, you don't see it too much in our space. And with animal products, we know that, our consumers expect that the producers had some animal welfare programs in place and refrained from using antibiotics or growth hormones in species like cattle where that's done. We try to partner with brands that go above and beyond. For example, Pete and Jerry's and Nellie's are two of the big egg brands.
Hey, sorry.
He's just asking what our pet food standards are, I think.
It's all good.
But for example, Pete and Jerry's and Nellie's are certified humane. Pete and Jerry's is organic. Those are our two egg brands, and we look for brands that specifically go above and beyond when it comes to how they treat their animals and feed them.
I think it's so important, and I think it's really, education is such an important conversation to have, because I think one of the challenges that people have are around understanding what they're buying.
Yep.
And I just don't think they understand what the labeling says and how to look and what to look for.
And they don't, you see a new brand in your grocery store and you you think, okay, I think it's organic, so it's probably better, but it costs a little bit more. And is it really better? Value is this sort of intersection of quality and cost.
Mhm.
And to pay a little bit more for something, need to be convinced that it's legitimately a bit better. And so, with Merryfield, we're doing that two ways: by making it a little more approachable, by giving you rewards for buying it, and helping shoppers understand, what makes organic preferable and better, or what does the non-GMO project seal mean when you see it on a label.
The other question I wanted to just circle back on was, the fact that you make this more accessible for people. I love, because it is expensive, and people spend so much money of their paycheck to eat, right? Because it is expensive. And eating is the one thing in this that we need to focus on right now, whether it's because of COVID or just our health. And we just need to keep our bodies strong and our immunity strong. And so giving people accessibility to healthy food is so important. So one thing I'm really curious about, I don't know if you guys have done the numbers on this, but do you know, because of the discounts and the rewards that you give people, how many more people have had access to healthier foods because they've now been able to afford it?
That's a really good question. And I think, because we're so early in our journey, that's a hard question to unpack.
Okay.
We're building our user base. We just launched our Android version of our app in November. And we're just starting to really put a lot of energy behind building our user base and really studying their shopping patterns over time. That's one of the things I'm really excited about, is our ability over time to see, if we're giving you incentives on a given brand, does it increase your purchases of that brand? Can we help you by educating you about organic dairy and what that means, make you a bigger part and a bigger buyer of that category? And does offering you at least 5% back when you buy those products make an impact? We think it does, and we're going to be, testing that hypothesis and looking at it over the next several years.
I'm excited to see that, because our goal is to use essential ingredients as a platform so that people can make more informed choices. So it was a natural question, I think, for me to ask you. But I do know you guys are early on. You guys are just getting going. And with that said, I know, how long have you guys been around now?
We've been around officially about a year and a half. We launched our first app. We were going to launch in March of 2020, but of course, COVID impacted retail grocery in so many ways. We pulled back a bit. We launched the app in July of 2020 with about 20 inaugural brands. As of right now, we're up. I think we've launched our 56th brand on the platform.
That's
We have
exciting.
more exciting ones in the pipeline, and a bunch of launches coming in the next week and in early January. We've started to welcome bigger and bigger brands into our collective too, which is so gratifying to me. Brands with the potential for more impact and more access. And for example, Dave's Killer Bread, we welcomed to the platform a couple of weeks ago. They're, of course, organic, incredibly high standards, incredibly good products. And they're in Whole Foods, but they're also in Walmart and so many conventional outlets. And I love that sweet spot of quality and access. People shop it. You can find it no matter where you shop. And using Merryfield, you get at least 5% back when you buy it.
Yeah, that's great. And to be able to have access to these brands and learn a little bit more about them, about what you're buying and why they're so good, I think you've got a really good, it's really good combination.
Thank you very much.
Combination.
Yeah.
So,
Essential Ingredients is powered by Next Gen Chef. Next Gen Chef is a movement that supports food and beverage entrepreneurs around the world by fostering a sense of community and providing its members access to mentors and a wealth of resources and guidance. Next Gen Chef feeds members with the knowledge they need to build better for you food and beverage businesses, so the world can have greater access to healthier food, comprehensive food education, and increased affordability. If you like what you hear on this podcast, continue the conversation or ask new questions on the Next Gen Chef app, available in the Apple Store and Google Play. Follow Next Gen Chef on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook at Next Gen Chef. Join Next Gen Chef and let's change the future of the food industry together.
So you started a year and a half ago, and I'm curious, you've made some really great strides in the last year. Maybe you can talk to us about maybe some of the three biggest things that happened in this last year. on your
Yeah, so I
journey?
mean, the three biggest things. One, we launched our Android app in November, which is big. It's close to half of smartphone users use Android devices and not iPhones. And we wanted to make sure before we put a lot of effort into, shouting our story and building our user base that we weren't excluding half of the potential users that are out there. So that was huge for us. I think the biggest thing we've done this year, or one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting, is of course announce the appointment of our co-founder and chief creative officer, Zoe Deschanel, who
Very
joined
exciting.
Merryfield this
Congratulations.
summer. She's become an amazing part of our team and has helped us in so many ways, attract attention and user base, and helped us think about how we tell the Merryfield story to users. Yeah, she's just been amazing. And then I think, the thing I'm third most proud about is really the brand collective we built. We went from, at the beginning of 2021, we probably had about 30 brands on the platform. We've more than doubled that number and introduced a lot of, all of our brands are high quality, but the scale and caliber of the brands we've been bringing onto the platform. In the last week, we've launched Barilla Pasta, which is, it's a big, well-known
Big
conventional
brand.
brand, but with really high standards and really amazing commitments and clean products and, sub brands that are organic and lentil and legume based. An amazing company that I think, everyone has in their grocery store. Wasa Crisp Bread is part of the same organization. We launched Hue Kitchen. Do you know Hue?
I love Who.
The
I used
best.
to go there because I'm from New York.
I
And when
love
they,
that restaurant in New York.
I used to go there because I lived nearby. I was a big fan when they first opened.
Yeah. I remember going there with some of my team now in early Merryfield days, like 3 or 4 years ago. And they I've loved their chocolate bars since they hit the market. They've gotten into cookies and crackers that are absolutely amazing. And then in the next few weeks, we have some brands, I can't announce them yet, but watch our Instagram feed and our app over the next, 3-4
Maybe
weeks.
you can share your Instagram and for everyone that's listening and for those watching, if you want to share that feed.
Our Merryfield Instagram, and I'll send it to you so you can share it in the text, but it's at Merryfield XO on Instagram. And then the app is Merryfield, Merryfield. It is now in the Google Play and the Apple App Store for you to download. It's free for users.
That's great. So you've launched the app, you've brought on new talent, you have Zoe Deschanel, you're making great strides. What are you excited about for 2022? What are the big things happening besides the brands you can't share?
The brands I can't share, which are going to be really exciting, and the future brands we have yet to land, but I'm sure, I'm excited to continue to build the collective. We're getting into fresh produce a little bit. I'm excited, not just because your dogs are watching, but the pet food category is one where there's incredible differentiation between high quality products and the mainstream, and we're excited to do some work there. We're also, our initial focus was on brick and mortar retail and paper receipts. You open your Merryfield app, you take a receipt, and get your points that way. But we're also doing a lot of work to build out digital receipts. Right now on the app, we integrate really well with Target and Walmart and other online retailers. And we're continuing, as COVID and just the evolution of retail changes the way that we shop and access products, whether it's curbside pickup or home delivery from Amazon and Whole Foods. We want to make sure we stay ahead of that curve and continue to, reward people for buying our products, however they're getting it. So lots of exciting stuff on the horizon there for us as well.
That is exciting. And, so I'm curious, when you guys first came up with Merryfield to today, has the vision changed? Have you guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, startup 101 is that
So I'm curious, can you share with us, was there anything that's changed completely that you never thought you would ever be, that you're so enamored with? Wow, I can't believe this is where we took it.
Yeah, honestly, so many different ways. One is that, when we set out, I met my founder and CEO, David, back in 2017. We initially thought, we wanted to create a sort of digital coupon platform, sort of allow brands to give you $1 or $2 off of a product from a, brand that meets high standards, and sort of support our brands that way. We did a lot of soul searching, over that first year, and realized that we needed to do more to make the experience sticky for our users, to make it so that you have reasons to open the Merryfield app every time you go to the grocery store, learn about new product lines, and most importantly, like, get rewarded not just for a one-off purchase, but for a number of purchases that allow you to work a brand into your routine and your habits, and build healthier habits. If you're converting from using white rice to using a lentil or a legume-based rice like white rice, it's a new product, and to get it successfully worked into your weeknight cooking repertoire, you need to try it a bunch of times. And so we switched to a loyalty model where, every time you buy anything from any of our brands, you get rewards, because we wanted to promote those sort of, long-term, deeper relationships between our brands and our consumers.
Well, that's,
so that's a big one. The other thing we've realized, and we're just starting to really, wrap our minds around how we're going to actualize this, is, because our users are taking pictures of their receipts, or giving us access to their digital receipts, we have a lot of information about what they like and don't like. And how can we leverage the data we have about you, in ways that respect your privacy, to more personalize your experience, to introduce you to products we think you'll like because of what we know you buy. How can we use your shopping patterns to make the experience richer and more personalized for you as our user?
I think that's very smart and respectful at the same time.
Yeah, thank you.
So if you look back on your journey, is there anything that you would have done differently?
That's a great question. On my Merryfield journey, it's so interesting, because it's almost like you have to have these rich conversations and change focus and pivot. And, if we'd sort of come out of the gate with the fully baked set of ideas, I don't know that we'd be as confident in them as we are. You kind of have to go down a few dead ends and through the maze a bit to realize that, like, yeah, we're actually on the right path.
I think we all have similar experiences. It's right. You got to make some wrong turns and go through a whole series of things to make the right choice, right? You got to get educated. You got to learn what works and what doesn't work, and do the research so you can make the informed choice. So do you have any advice for any young people who want to become an entrepreneur?
Wow, that's such a good question too. As someone who was so not an entrepreneur, I spent 20 years working for a very big, stable company. And I mean, to combine your last two questions and ask, is there anything I wish I'd done differently? And my advice to young people interested in entrepreneurship, go for it. Don't there's this tendency to say, to wait until the idea is more mature, or you find the right group of people, or the funding lines up, and all these sort of what ifs. If you think you have a really good idea, hustle and find the people to champion it with you, and go for it. I don't want to say it's a regret, because I love the path that I've taken.
Right.
But had I known how exhilarating it is to sort of step out, take risks, find a group of genius, like-minded, inspiring people to work with, and build a new thing, I would have done it sooner.
Yeah, I think that everybody's got a different path too. So the same way you don't have regret, some people, find their times in different, everybody's got a different time. And you can't do the wrong thing for the right person, or the right thing for the.
Exactly.
I butchered that whole thing. I butchered what I was trying to say, but
I kind of got it anyway, though. But the sort of thing where and if I had, changed my path 10 years earlier, who knows how my life would have been different. There's all these divergent paths and sort of ghost ships that go off in different directions, and you just can never know where it would have led you.
You kind of needed that experience, and the experience at Whole Foods, and all of the infrastructure there to be able to give you what the skill set and the experience to do what you're doing now. Maybe you didn't need 20 years of it, but it shaped who you are today.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. What I've learned in that organization, from the brands and the regulators and the advocacy organizations and farmers and ranchers and people I worked with, is I cannot synthesize or distill. I mean, it's so vast and was so valuable. And what I love is that I'm using that experience that I gained to, we've created a product. And this is how David, my founder, convinced me to leave the job I was in. He was like, think about the impact that you can have, using this way of thinking about standards that you've been doing for so long to create a set of standards and a collective of brands to help not just Whole Food shoppers, but everybody buying groceries who wants to be making better decisions. And that's when you think about, whether you're shopping at Walmart or Kroger or a military commissary or a 7-Eleven, can we create a tool to help meet you wherever you are and help you make incrementally better decisions and make it rewarding for you?
That is a big goal and I love it. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you.
I think, my goal is to provide this tool so that other people can find resources like yours. So today I've accomplished what I wanted to do. I got to talk to you and give everyone a new resource to be able to get more educated and have greater access to healthy food. So that's how I'm defining success today.
Well, I think our crossing paths was very successful for both of us. We have such a shared mission around, helping people connect the dots and find those resources. And at the end of the day, helping more people have access to better food.
I think so. So between the education and the access and, your expansion, your plans for expansion on your app and our plans to help support all these new innovative brands. And then if we can use our platform to connect these new innovative brands and your platform, maybe there's a way to even, continue this conversation and bring the two together.
Absolutely. And I think in both of our worlds, there's the end game is, of course, I want to keep adding brands and users to Merryfield and connect the people to the products and help people understand why they're better. But I think if we do our jobs right, at the end of the day, we can play a really big role in transforming the grocery store or accelerating the transformation that's underway to make grocery retail in general a healthier, cleaner, better for you space. I love that I can go into my rural Texas Walmart right now and find more organic and natural and clean label products than I ever would have imagined. But let's ignite that transformation and keep it going so that, better for you, because that's also how we're going to conquer the fact that better for you products are more expensive. They're going to get cheaper the more we can scale them, the more that those brands can leverage those economies of scale and distribution and slowly come down in price so that they're not much more expensive than the conventional alternative.
I think the more we can educate people and the more there's a greater demand for them and the more people ask for them, the prices will come down.
Absolutely.
I think so. I think we're on the same page. We got to get everybody else on the same page. We just got to use our voices to continue this conversation and it will hopefully, like the game telephone, right? Or no, they changed the message there. We don't want them to change the message.
Right.
We just want to get on our megaphones.
We just want to get on our megaphone, which is this really loud megaphone.
And spread the word. So I'm so glad you joined me, and I'm gonna try Merryfield myself. And we will share more information about this in our newsletter. And if you have any other information for our guests, make sure to send it on my way. And I want to thank you for joining us today. And I want to thank our guests for joining us as well.
Justine, thank you for having me. And thank you for setting up this series of conversations with so many different, innovative, interesting people. I'm honored to be among them. Thank you.
Thank you.
To find out more about this episode of Essential Ingredients and access show notes, check out Next Gen Chef and choose podcast in the menu bar. If you like this episode, head to iTunes or Next Gen Chef's YouTube channel to subscribe. Learn more about Next Gen Chef, the platform that powers this podcast, by checking out our website or visit us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Next Gen Chef. You can also check out my Instagram at Justine_Reichman. If you have thoughts about this episode or future episode ideas, leave us a comment at Next Gen Chef's YouTube channel or drop an email at team@nextgenchef.com. Thanks for joining us.